Good morning, everyone. My name is Cruz Carpenter, and today we will be discussing the Carolinian Cavalier. General Rufus Barringer was the son of a German family. His grandfather came to America and moved to Cabarrus County, North Carolina, and he was born on December 2nd, 1821. And so, with this, his parents really wanted their son to have a good education, and they ensured him a good education. Their names were Mr. and Miss Paul Barringer, and he attended Sugar Creek Academy, then went to the university where he graduated in 1842. He then pursued law studies with his brother, the Honorable D.M. Barringer, at Concord, North Carolina. Now, the practice of the day is that you went to school, and then for the profession you wish to pursue, an apprenticeship was required. And so, with this, Barringer wanted to pursue law. And so he went and was trained in the apprenticeship of his brother, who was already a lawyer. And so he began to learn the importance of law, studied all the essential law books, and studied the laws of his country for a long time until he would be admitted to the bar. And so after he was admitted to the bar, he began his own law practice and became very prominent at the bar. So he was very, very well trained by his brother and was very respected in the community. He then pursued a political career. He was first elected as solicitor for Cabarrus County in 1844. He was a devout Whig, a powerful party before the war, like his father. They were very reform party, which means they distrust the central federal government, wanted more benefits for their state and their state-run governments, and really favored good representation for their constituents. He wanted to see his home state's economy succeed and lobbied for a railroad bill that would aid the state's troubled condition. Thus, he was elected to the North Carolina House of Commons in 1848. And so, in this, that was what provided him with the means to get elected, was seeing that this railroad bill was the means to bring good economy back to his state. And so with this, he served a full term, but this term really exhausted and wearied Barringer. But he was very influential in that time. He just didn't sit back and watch legislation unfold. He passed several judicial, government, and education reforms that would benefit his people in the long run. But once his term was close to expiring, he wanted to get out. And so he did not seek reelection and got out in 1850. And so here, this image is an example of what a Senate Assembly House looked like back in those days. And so he returned to private life and became very successful. He wanted to spend time with his family. He returned to his thriving law practice, and had a life of peace for a long time until the crisis of secession came in 1861. Barringer had enjoyed good business before, and now it was clear that he strongly opposed secession. This was the view of North Carolina until Abraham Lincoln made the call to raise 75,000 men. And this is what made men like Barringer change their views to take up arms to defend their homes from this invading army. This is what made men like Barringer change their views to take up arms to defend their homes and livelihoods from this invading army. He personally raised a company of cavalry in Cabarrus County that became Company F of the 1st North Carolina Cavalry. He was commissioned as a captain on May 16th, 1861. And so here, this is the first, kind of unrecognized flag of the Confederacy, called the Stars and Bars. And it was their flag until 1863. So now, Barringer was in the Confederate military. He served in the early campaigns of the war, most notably the 7 Days Battles. He was brother in law to famous generals like Thomas J. Jackson, known as Stonewall Jackson, who was married to Barringer's wife's sister. He was the best general of the Confederacy. He was promoted to the rank of major during the Battle of Brandy Station in 1863. Now, the Battle of Brandy Station began the Gettysburg campaign in a sense, because this image here is a battle map of Brandy Station when it was fought on June 9th, 1863. And during this battle, he was promoted to the rank of major, and he was severely wounded in his jaw in this battle, and it would severely affect him the rest of his life. He served under some of the greatest cavalry generals of the Confederacy, like Jeb Stuart and Wade Hampton. His wounds kept him from the Gettysburg campaign, and he did not return from convalescence until October of 1863. He would see rapid advancement in rank due to his courage, efficiency, and military service, becoming a brigadier general to lead a whole brigade of North Carolina cavalry by the personal recommendation of President Jefferson Davis by June 1864. However, he served in that role for the remainder of the war until Lee's retreat from Virginia, and his brigade of cavalry was made the rear guard of their withdrawal from Richmond. And on April 3rd, 1865, he was taken prisoner along with Generals Richard Ewell and Custis Lee to City Point, Virginia. Now, at this time, there was another notable figure on the opposite side who was in the area, and he was President Abraham Lincoln, as pictured here. And he wanted to meet a Confederate general, so Rufus Barringer was brought before President Lincoln for a brief encounter. But as the Lord would align it, Lincoln was friends with Rufus's older brother from his days of having served with him in Congress, and treated Rufus kindly by sending him to Fort Delaware as a prisoner. And his prison sentence wouldn't last long, as the war would end by June of 1865, and he and Barringer was released, paroled, and returned home. Barringer returned home, and he was blessed because it was not ravaged by the war, and he remained a firm supporter of the Union and resumed his law practice. He became a member of the Republican Party because the Whig Party had collapsed before the war, and participated in politics once again in the Reconstruction era. He participated in the 1875 state constitutional convention representing Mecklenburg County, where he lived now. His great height of political achievement was when in 1880 he was nominated by the Republicans to run for the office of lieutenant governor, but things were said and done. He argued with a lot of local newspapers and people, saying that they slandered his appointment and he didn't win that office. His obituary joked that he voted Republican until 1884, when he voted for Grover Cleveland, a Democrat, and voted this way till his dying day because Grover Cleveland was widely regarded as a man of the people, meaning his nickname was Ugly Honest, meaning he didn't want to fall in line with the political dances that a lot of his contemporaries wanted him to follow. And so with this, General Rufus Barringer would pass away in the 1890s. Literally, his obituary is titled "The End of a Remarkable Man." So now you ask, okay, he's dead and gone. What is there left of his life for people to study about? Well, thankfully, in this presentation, most of what I conveyed to you is from several institutions of modern preservation. The account of Barringer's life and service in the war has been preserved by several institutions of North Carolina. The first being the archives of the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, whose archives maintain the special collections of letters written by Rufus Barringer from all stages of his life. More diverse accounts of Barringer are available, meaning written by contemporaries and Barringer himself, for research on the North Carolina Digital Heritage Center, which allows researchers to explore original materials from 370 libraries, museums, and archives across North Carolina. They've digitized newspapers from all across North Carolina. And so this includes his home areas of Concord, Charlotte, and other newspapers that often spoke out against him. The major battlefields where Rufus Barringer fought are preserved by the National Parks of the United States and local battlefield preservation societies like the American Battlefield Trust and Brandy Station Foundation. Now, here's my transcript, and here is a bibliography of sources I used for this presentation. And so I thank you.